Saddle up, Denver, because the tide has turned, transforming our tempo, our conditioning, and our tactical precision on the field. I am here to expose why every single rumor circulating about this showdown with Buffalo is completely off base. Reality is vastly more volatile than you think. But before we dive in, smash that like button if you trust this squad to shock the globe. If you bleed for this franchise, sound off below and let me hear your battle cry for the orange and blue. Loyalty runs deep in these veins. Stay locked in, because I will break down precisely how Denver holds the upper hand while Buffalo quietly implodes, potentially sealing this fate before the final 15 minutes even begin. Let us dive straight into the chaos because everything is on the line right now. As the Bills storm into Mile High for a postseason clash that practically knocks on the championship door, pundits and social media mobs are rushing to crown a victor. Yet their storyline is flimsier than a house of cards, and I hold the evidence to shatter it. To start, the medical updates reveal a reality that every Denver supporter absolutely must understand. While the visitors struggled to complete even a light rehearsal because of their battered roster, Denver executed one of their most grueling full-contact sessions of the year, signaling not just standard drills, but title-worthy readiness. This goes beyond having backups. It is about total physical vitality from top to bottom. Every single available Bronco took the field, whereas the Bills are crawling into this fight, especially within their decimated receiving corps. So, listen closely. Buffalo is so starved for pass catchers that regional broadcasts are airing footage of signal callers running routes. They are not doing it for strategy, but because they are critically short on bodies, leaving them with just 3 healthy targets. That screams panic, and the nightmare deepens because their premier perimeter blockers, Davis and Shavers, are sidelined. These athletes did more than snag aerials. They bulldozed paths for Cook, their most dangerous ground threat. Lacking that support, Buffalo's rushing attack faces a catastrophe. And here lies the critical number you need to know. Whenever Cook fails to crack 100 yards on the ground, his team strikes out completely, going 0 for 4. Critics might argue the record is 1-4, but that lone victory involved him hardly seeing the field during a pointless skirmish with New York. Let us be honest, stifle their running back, and you have essentially secured passage to the next stage. Why is Denver poised to stop him? Because ever since the Taylor matchup, not a single opponent has breached the century mark against this defense. Stripped of those superior blocking wideouts, the Bills' rushing potency is effectively nullified. Their own play caller previously awarded a game ball to Davis specifically for his shielding, not his catches, which speaks volumes. Discussions about elevation are just another flimsy storyline. Sure, Allen competed in Wyoming during college, but physiological adaptation does not persist for years. This is not muscle memory. Once you depart, your system reverts to baseline. Therefore, do not assume he holds some mystical immunity to the thin air simply due to his past. Thompson, the linebacker who clinched the win against the Jaguars, is hurt, while Poyer, the intellectual heart of their defense, is missing. Oliver, their destructive tackle, remains doubtful and may sit out, especially since this Saturday clash forces Buffalo to finalize choices on a compressed timeline. They are operating on merely 5 days of recovery. It is punishing. Yet fans still absurdly claim their offensive front will reign supreme simply because they boast an extra 229 pounds over our defense. Reality check. Mass does not automatically translate to mastery. Bonito has been humiliating larger opponents all year, while Atlanta, possessing an even lighter line than ours, totally suffocated Buffalo in a humiliating defeat. Clearly, added bulk will not be the savior for the visitors. Denver's unit is hitting its apex at the ideal moment, crediting the brilliant rotation strategy employed by the coaching staff. A year ago, Allen and Bonito were exhausted by this stage, but now they remain vibrant, having logged significantly fewer plays. Energized and primed to strike, Allen tops the league in quarterback hits despite playing 167 fewer downs than before. The issue is not solely Buffalo's infirmary list. Denver is genuinely elite, constructed specifically to dismantle this particular opponent. Missing 3 key wideouts, the opposition will be forced to lean heavily on their tight ends. However, our secondary, anchored by Surtain, is engineered for this exact scenario. Facing no premier wide receiver is the dream. This implies Surtain will likely shadow a tight end, a role where he has already demonstrated absolute superiority. Just like the Christmas battle against Kelce, he erased him completely, allowing only 1 reception for negligible yardage on 2 targets, while Bowers achieved absolutely 0. The story repeated with Ferguson and other stars. Whenever our corners lock onto tight ends, those targets simply disappear from the game. Even when Surtain is occupied, McMillian steps up, having already compiled a reel of shutdowns against the division's finest at that position. He completely erased Ferguson back when everyone hailed him as the league's best tight end, and he replicated that dominance against the Commanders. Now consider the officiating factor. Penalty flags virtually disappear in the postseason, dropping 40% compared to the regular schedule. That is a massive break for Denver, a squad that was plagued by yellow laundry throughout the early months of the campaign. Referees generally let them play in January, and with Carl Cheffers, whose crew sees home teams triumph 62% of the time running the show, the edge goes to Denver. If their defense maintains this intensity, which seems inevitable, the Broncos won't simply secure a victory here. They will be putting the entire conference on notice that they are a bona fide threat for the Lombardi Trophy. Everything begins with the battle in the trenches. Denver's front line looks incredibly revitalized for a winter clash, constructed specifically for high-stakes football, with Zach Allen absolutely haunting opposing passers. Nick Bonito has evolved into an elite edge threat, while Sean Payton's strategic heavy rotation is finally yielding significant returns. This group is energized, starving for a win, and locked in. When the front four creates chaos, the entire defense benefits. Linebackers can attack downhill with confidence, while the safeties are free to lock onto their coverage assignments. Instantly, that tight end pairing Buffalo relies on as their ace in the hole is rendered completely irrelevant. Without a clean pocket, Josh Allen panics and forces the ball into tight windows, a habit that has already caused 18 turnovers this year. If you collapse the pocket and cover his safety valves, he inevitably begins gambling with the football. With hawks like Pat Surtain and Jaquan McMillian lurking in the backfield, those gambles turn into game-changing takeaways. Yet the true game-changer here is actually the Broncos' attack. While pundits focus on Buffalo's injury report, we cannot ignore Denver's offensive capabilities. Russell Wilson has found a steady rhythm operating under Sean Payton's disciplined scheme. He avoids mistakes, extends possessions, and while the stat sheet isn't flashy, he is doing exactly what is required to win. He is surgically executing the coaching staff's vision. With Buffalo potentially missing stars like Poyer and Ed Oliver, Denver has a golden opportunity to bully the trenches, hog the clock, and sideline Josh Allen. Javonte Williams is finally punishing defenders with that trademark power style we missed. An offensive line that used to be a weakness has gelled into a strength, allowing Sean Payton to unleash his full creative arsenal. Through screen passes, deception, and strategic play-action fakes, they have kept opposing coordinators constantly off balance. Facing a depleted Bills roster, anticipate a tactical masterpiece from Payton. And here is one more reason to believe. Denver is operating with zero pressure right now because nobody predicted they would even reach this stage. The postseason seemed impossible after their stumbling open, yet they scrapped their way back, dominated the winter, and are now healthy enough to stun everyone. They are not crawling into the playoffs on their last legs. This squad is peaking at the perfect time, whereas Buffalo looks broken and is desperately trying to tape their lineup together. Between public online spats and traveling into the thin air of Mile High, they are walking into a nightmare scenario. The noise levels will be ear-splitting, testing their reserves to the limit, while the mental aspect heavily favors the home team. Denver stands together as a singular, unified force. From locker room leaks to practice footage and Sean Payton's pressers, the conviction is palpable, and that faith is lethal in January. Psychological toughness often decides tight contests, and Denver holds all the cards regarding momentum, physical condition, and tactical matchups. You have the backfield erasing tight ends, the front four crushing the pocket, and Russell Wilson playing mistake-free football. That specific combination is exactly how championships are won in the winter. Now I want to hear from you, Broncos country. What is the deciding factor here? Is it Pat Surtain shutting down Dalton Kincaid? Could it be Nick Bonito wrecking the backfield? Or will Sean Payton's strategic brilliance be the final nail in the coffin? Let me know your predictions down in the comments section. Hit the like button to support the content, and make sure you subscribe for all our upcoming analysis and post-match reactions. Tap the video appearing on your screen for our deep dive playoff preview. And as always, go Broncos!